Greetings. For those of you who like the more social aspect of subjects, this may be the video for you. I have read more than a few biographies of mathematicians, and I wanted to talk about some of those biographies that I've read today. And we're going to progress through history, and I'm going to start prior to World War II. The first biography I'm going to look at is The Adventures of a Mathematician by Stanislaw Ulam. He came to the United States from Poland and was involved in the Los Alamos project. This was an important project in helping the United States with their war effort. A lot of mathematicians and physicists were involved in this project. One of the interesting things in this biography is how Dr. Ulam introduces people that were in his life and then almost immediately talks about their death, because there are so many people that he had encountered and knew that died, largely as a result of the war in Europe. One of the mathematicians that were responsible for helping invite Dr. Ulam to be a part of the United States war effort was John von Neumann, who was a well-respected mathematician in his own right. And it was that connection with Dr. von Neumann that allowed Dr. Ulam to kind of get a place in that project. Some of the aspects that I liked about this novel was the talk of the parties and get-togethers that the mathematicians had, whether they were meeting in cafes or in someone's home, and having those connections. Sometimes it seems like people don't realize that mathematicians and other people of these research, scientific-focused communities actually do enjoy connecting with each other. You don't have to know deep mathematics to get along well with reading this biography. It is not mathematics intensive. You're not going to be asked to do some calculations as trying to understand the flow of the biography. So I've really enjoyed this. It was published by University of California Press, and I think within the last few years here they have done a movie version of this. I just recently had found out about that and watched it. I didn't enjoy the movie so much as I did the book itself. The book is written in a way that I can see where I would want to reread this biography. I did not find the movie adaptation to be as interesting. I enjoyed the movie adaptation of Dr. Feynman's, one of his biographies, to be more watchable and potentially rewatchable than I did The Adventures of a Mathematician. The next biography I'm going to look at is The Friendship of Calculus by Dr. Stephen Strogatz. I have actually met Dr. Strogatz in person at one time. I went to a special lecture that he had done that was sponsored by a university mathematical biological institute, and I got to talk to him very briefly after the lecture. The other three gentlemen that are in the biographies that I'm going to talk about today, I have not met in person. This biography talks about the friendship that Dr. Strogatz had with one of his high school mathematics teachers. And this friendship was largely developed after Dr. Strogatz had left to begin his university studies. They began a correspondence and talked mostly about mathematics, and it was only later where those life connections maybe came into play. Now, there is some mathematics in this book here. So if you do like to go beyond just learning about the people and also wanting a little bit of the depth of the mathematics, this is more of the book for you, because this actually has some things in it that you can take a look at and try to wrap your mind around when it comes to the mathematics. Again, this is showing the very human connection of people connecting, talking about mathematics, but then going deeper with other life connections. I enjoyed this. This is the shortest of the 4 biographies that I'm going to talk about today. Dr. Strogatz does a lot of work with public connections. You may have seen him around the internet or maybe talked about in some other place. So this is a nice brief introduction to a more personal side of him. The next biography I'm going to look at is Love and Math, and the subtitle for this is The Heart of Hidden Reality. This is the biography of Dr. Edward Frenkel. Dr. Frenkel was a Jewish Russian citizen who had some difficulties in his former country. He eventually came to the United States and did his PhD here in the United States. Very early in his career, before he even finished his bachelor's degree, he had a nice breakthrough in Lie algebra, which kind of helped get him in many places, one being his invitation to the United States. Dr. Frenkel has interest in arts as well as mathematics, and you can see just a variety of the depth of his interest and his development and his life as you read through his biography. You see the racial difficulties that he had as he dealt with the issues that were going on in his home country, and you get to see some of his successes. He does talk about some deep mathematical topics. One of them specifically is the Langlands project. Everything that he talks about is pretty much on a level where the general public can at least have some understanding, I believe, of the topics that he's talking about. I don't think it goes too much beyond what you can process. Dr. Frenkel presents his more advanced topics, I think, in kind of a pop science way, so that it introduces these more advanced topics, but in a way that is going to get your interest. So if you are interested, you can take some of the information that he's given you and go beyond the biography itself and go do some research on your own. But if you're not that interested in it, you've been given just enough of an introduction and you can continue on with the biography. And then if you don't want to learn anything more beyond that, then you are good to go as well. Definitely really enjoyed reading this. This is pretty typical novel size, so it may take you a little bit to get through it. All 4 of these books that I have here have some nice quotes in them. I've enjoyed quotes from all 4 of these books. There were several things that I wrote down as I read through this one as far as quotes that I enjoyed in it. The last biography that I'm going to look at was originally written in French. I read an English translation. That is Birth of a Theorem, A Mathematical Adventure by Cédric Villani. This gentleman was a Fields medalist, and this biography is leading up to his receiving that very prestigious award. The Fields Medal has been compared to the Nobel Prize, which does not have an award strictly for mathematics. And the Fields Medal can also not be won by a mathematician over the age of 40. This book shows how this professor was able to go from drafting, researching, writing, into rejection and then further publication of his work. And it's something that I was able to learn from as I did my own work and going through the publishing process. This also shows where he worked, both where he started and also traveling to do research as well. So if you are interested in research mathematics or maybe some of the other research sciences, you may find that this biography is helpful to you in kind of seeing what that lifestyle and that process is all about. To go through the writing and the rejection and then to resubmit and learn from and reevaluate what you've done and make the corrections, and to go through that process, it was helpful to see what he has done and the success that he had, and to be able to try to apply the lessons he learned into what I have done. So this has been very valuable to me to just learn from his life experiences. I hope you found these biographies interesting. Hopefully you'll find some mathematics in your part of the world that you can enjoy with someone else. Cheerful calculating.